Hello and welcome to our video where I'll be showing you why Orient is just such an amazing watch brand. And to do that, I'm wearing my own Orient, which is an STI limited edition, which is actually one of the first watches that we ever sold. This is back from 2010 or 2011, limited to just 1,000 pieces. And it's been a very faithful companion ever since. Anyway, we're going to be talking about why Orient is such an amazing brand, and to do that I want to illustrate it with a couple of watches that are from the contemporary collection that are for sale on our website right now, and just to show what they do and why you should buy an Orient watch. The first watch that I'll be showing you today is an Orient Bambino with a small second hand. This is one of the more recent iterations of the Bambino series, and this is one of our most popular watches, at least one of our most popular dress watches. And I think you can see why. The dial is absolutely stunning. It has a lovely sand or champagne or whatever you want to call it look to it, and it has applied markers. Of course, in typical Bambino fashion, it does have domed glass, which you can see quite well. It has a very good vintage vibe, and the watch is sized at around 40.5 millimeters in diameter, excluding the crown, which is a very contemporary size. So it does have a bit of wrist present. It's not like those truly dress watches from, well, say the 60s that are 36 or even smaller. So this is it's a contemporary classic, you could say. And one of the fun things is that you can actually see the movement through the case back window, which is I believe a first for the Orient Bambino line. Orient does make, of course, watches with display case back, but this is one of the first where you can actually see the movement, and it's the newer generation movement, which does feature hand winding and hacking. So it's a very nice movement, and it's visible through the case back. And one thing you'll notice when you look on the case back is that the watch actually says Epson, and that's a question. We get a lot of questions about what is Orient, where is Orient based, and so on. And some people think they're a low budget Seiko company or something like that. Well, yes and no. Orient was founded back in the 50s even, and there was, of course, a long history with the quartz crisis and all sorts of happenings, which I'll save and you can look up on Wikipedia or something. And back in 2009, they were fully obtained by Seiko Epson. Now, Seiko Epson is a very, very big company that actually owns the printer division from the Epson printers, but also Seiko watches and so on. Now, a lot of people think that the people that run Seiko actually run Orient, and that's not true. And that's also why you see Epson on the case back, because the people at Epson actually run Orient. Now, this may not be very important because, of course, the watch should do the talking, not necessarily the owner, but it does make a difference that it's a full established watch company that make their own movements, and while the owner very high up may be the same, it's not a Seiko watch. It's not, they don't use Seiko movements. So that's something I did want to clear up straight off the hand, because we get quite a few questions about that. Now, you've had a chance to look at this Orient Bambino, and I want to move on to the second watch, which is, drum roll, the Orient Ray, which is another classic, I would say, within the Orient range. It's one of their most popular dive watches. This is actually the Ray 2. The Ray 1 featured the old movement, which actually had a pusher for the day function over here. Now it's all operated by the crown, which is how you can easily recognize whether or not the watch has the latest generation movement. Now, if you look at this watch, it's a very, very nice watch to wear. It's very beautiful. It has a lovely deep blue hue to it, and it has pretty much everything you could wish for at a very, very affordable price. And this Ray, by the way, that I do want to mention that those names, because we get quite a few questions about the names actually. Who makes up Orient Ray? Who makes up Orient Bambino? Well, actually, it's not Orient themselves. It's quite funnily, it's the distributor in the USA. they come up with the names and they sort of stick. So there's some people say, you know, we get people arguing with us like, that's not a Ray or whatever. Yeah, the names are just pretty much made up, and you know, whether or not it sticks, that's, you know, what tends to be the most important part. But everyone is in agreement that this is called an Orient Ray, and it's a very good dive watch. It's not for helium diving. I do need to mention that it's 200-meter water resistant. But it's a very good watch if you want to go swimming, if you want to have a watch where you don't have to worry about anything, you can wear this watch, and it's very, very pretty. So for the divers among us, or people who like diving but don't go much further than their desk, this is a very fine choice at a very affordable price. The third watch that I want to show you is somewhat in between. It's this one. It's one of the more recent models, also with the latest generation movement, and it features an open heart complication. And Orient is one of those companies that does really like open hearts. So you'll find it in quite a few of their watches where you can actually see the watch movement running, which is, if you have a very boring job, it's very interesting to look at. Now this watch, it's a very nice blend of both casual, it's a bit formal, you know, you can wear this watch every day. It actually features sapphire glass. It's a very, very nice watch. And, you know, from a watch lover perspective, open hearts are quite fun complications, you know, they're not, it's not like a tourbillon or something, but it's a fun thing, and it just shows that you love watches. And, you know, Orient really are a brand that embraces that. It's a watch brand that you know, there's very little reason to hate them, and showing their movements, it's just a very fun complication. And this watch, you just put it on wherever you're going, whatever you're doing, and it's a great combination of all the style aspects. And well, I just love the open hearts. I know not everyone loves open hearts, but you know, Orient does offer them, and of course this sort of model is also offered with a normal dial, and they have a very wide range of models. And that's, Orient actually makes literally thousands of different models. So as a dealer, you know, you tend to pick the models that you think will work best. So they make a lot of different watches, and it's mesmerizing how they can make so many different designs and still keep the Orient pedigree, the Orient DNA. You'll recognize an Orient watch when you see one, in similar way that, you know, all the big brands have a certain DNA, and Orient, while making so many models, still maintain their you know, integrity. The fourth watch that I want to be showing you is this one. It's an Orient Star, which is Orient Star is their slightly more luxurious line. That doesn't mean that you know, every Orient watch, no Orient watch is on Orient Star level, but you know, Orient Star is a guaranteed you know, a quality level. They use generally the more premium materials, sapphire glass and stuff like that. The more luxurious movements, you know, this one has a very beautiful deployment clasp, very, very pretty applied markers. This is just a very stunning watch. If you look at it, it has a 50-hour power reserve, actually, with a power reserve indicator, small second hand, and this is just absolutely mesmerizing. This is one of the prettiest watches you know, I've seen in this price range. Actually, it's also got a display window, of course, which is pretty much standard on these sorts of watch, but it's just so beautiful. This is a watch, you know, you can wear, and no one will guess how inexpensive it is, because it looks just so much more expensive, and the quality is there. It's just a stunning watch. And you know, speaking of Orient Star, one other question that we get a lot is, how does it compare to Grand Seiko? Well, in all honesty, Grand Seiko is in a different price class. It's more expensive, and you know, it's a different sort of watch. So in all honesty, Orient Star does not compare to Grand Seiko, but this is in their own class and a very stunning watch. Speaking of stunning watches, I'll love to show you the final watch. And here we go with the final watch, which is Another Orient Star, I have to admit, but this one has a mechanical moon phase. So this is not a day-night indicator or anything like that. Let me just move the minute hand out of the way so you can actually see the moon phase just a bit better. And this shows what Orient can do. It's a mechanical moon phase. It has a day indicator. It has a power reserve indicator. It's, you know, these sorts of complications you don't find, you know, at this price level with this finishing level. I mean, look at how beautiful that dial is. And of course the moon phase. A moon phase is a very special complication. You know, you don't find it anywhere, and you know, not on Swiss watches by any means below 1,000 euros, and this is well below 1,000 euros. And of course there's a display case back. It has a lovely strap. It's of course a deployment clasp. This watch is at the moment the big flagship, or well, one of the most expensive models that they actually offer, and you can see why. But for the price you're paying, you're getting so much more than any other brand would offer. This one has 40-hour power reserve, but it actually has more tight specifications than the normal Orient movements, and this is just really quite funny. One of the more popular Orient Stars that we actually sell, because people recognize that what Orient can do for 200 euros, imagine what they can do at this price level, and quite rightfully so. This is quite unusual, of course, because you do see the Japanese design DNA. This is not a typical dress watch by any means. This goes beyond that. But the quality and the moon phase, and this is the watch you want if you have the money and you're in the market for a slightly dressy moon phase. You can't go around this one, I would say. Now, what the initial point of the video is just to show you what Orient can do, and then you have to realize that not many brands can actually do, well, I can't think of, you know, Seiko perhaps, but I can't think of any other brands that actually are able to offer both dress watches, sporty watches, slightly more exotic watches, higher end watches, complications at an affordable price. There's just none of those that actually do that. You know, sure, you can find a great dress watch for 3,000 or 4,000 euros. You can find a great sporty watch, but not for that sort of money. And to take into account that, you know, if you look at Rolex absolutely love the brand, make wonderful watches, absolutely stunning, but in all honesty, everyone loves their slightly more sporty watches. Even the Datejust 2 is a pretty sporty watch. The dress watches are not so popular, and you know, no one will associate Rolex with dress watch. And the same goes for Breitling, for Omega. They tend to be very good at one certain field, and other fields they're not bad by any means. No, I wouldn't say that your pretty Breitling is bad, but Orient does it all on an equal level, and they all do it very, very good. And you'll see online that you have great reviews for their dress watches, their Orient Star watches, their sporty watch. Orient does it all. And to take into account that they're all very affordable, there's not many watches in this price range that can offer this sort of quality level, this sort of pedigree, because they're in-house movements. They make their own stuff. They have their factory in Japan just making their own movements in Japan. You know, many brands just buy their movements. Orient makes them. Orient has the pedigree at an affordable price, and you know, there's very little reason not to buy an Orient watch. And I hope that this has convinced you. You know, if you ever have any questions about a watch, about this mechanical moon phase, about the Orient Bambino, whatever, get in touch with us. We're always happy to help. And, you know, any questions, you know, contact us or leave a comment below. Thank you. Take care.